On the Hawkeyes Sports Network from Learfield, this is the Fight for Iowa podcast. Brought to you by Athletico Physical Therapy, proud partner of the Iowa Hawkeyes and the Big Ten Conference. Hy-Vee, where there's a helpful smile in every aisle. Iowa's corn farmers of the Iowa Corn Growers Association and Iowa Corn Promotion Board. You may think Iowa grows corn, but the truth is, corn grows Iowa. Shields, we're right there with you in Des Moines, Sioux City, Iowa City, and Cedar Falls. University of Iowa Healthcare, changing medicine, changing lives. This is the Fight for Iowa podcast. Here's the voice of the Hawkeyes, Gary Dolphin.
After a 17-year run as Iowa Athletics Director, Gary Barta announced his retirement Friday, May 26th. During Barta's tenure, Iowa won 4 NCAA titles, 27 Big Ten Conference championships, saw nearly 500 All-America honorees, including multiple national and Big Ten Players of the Year. For 8 years in a row, Iowa athletes recorded a 3.0 or higher GPA and 89% graduation success rate. There have been more than $380 million in facility upgrades and new construction projects all across campus. The university's Athletics Endowment Fund has more than doubled from $31 million to $76 million. Iowa is the first Power 5 school to add women's wrestling. Barta has served on numerous NCAA committees over the years, including the College Football Playoff Selection Committee, serving 2 years as its chair. Barta was named Athletic Director of the Year in 2015-16. Quoting Barta, "It's been an absolute privilege and honor to serve in this role the past 17 years. I'm humbled to have worked beside and on behalf of so many student athletes, coaches, staff, donors, fans, and community leaders over the past 2 decades. All the best to Gary Barta, wife Connie, and family on his retirement." The Fight for Iowa podcast is sponsored by Shields, Athletico, UIHC, and Iowa Corn. And I'll be back in a minute.
More of the Fight for Iowa podcast after this.
After a cancer diagnosis, it's natural to want to start treatment right away. But first, get a second opinion from a team that specializes in your cancer. I'm Dr. George Weiner, Director of University of Iowa Holden Comprehensive Cancer Center. Before you start treatment, you deserve to be confident you have the right diagnosis and know every option available to you. So whether it's with us or somewhere else, get a second opinion. It can change your care and your life.
Hey everyone, I'm Mark Wahlberg, and I have some exciting news to share. At Wahlburgers, we are all about bringing the family together to enjoy a great meal and have a great time. That's why right now, for a limited time, kids eat free every day at all Hy-Vee Wahlburger locations. Kids 12 and under can enjoy 1 free kids meal with any purchase of an adult burger, sandwich, or entree salad.
Bring the family to Wahlburgers and the Wahlburgers and Hy-Vee stores, where right now kids can eat free.
Now back to the Fight for Iowa podcast. Here's the voice of the Hawkeyes, Gary Dolphin.
As the warmer weather of May, June, and July leads to millions of golfers headed to the links, the Hawkeye women ended their school year with a runner-up finish to Penn State at the inaugural National Invitational Meet at Action Southern Dunes Club in Arizona. What a trip for freshman Shannon Vogler. The Moline native was crowned medalist. In fact, Coach Menzel has a youthful, gifted roster with 4 freshmen and just 1 senior. A bright future indeed, but a pretty good present day. The experience of having success at a national meet serves to build on chemistry, confidence, togetherness, and maturity, according to Menzel.
It's just so important. And obviously for us, as we all know, getting eager for golf season now, mid-May, it was really crucial for us with a young team to be able to practice together, get through finals, learn how that feels moving into the postseason. Our group was a little, I think, disappointed in their Big Ten finish. And we definitely saw some great improvement, but, they wanted more. And so I think it just gave them an opportunity to go out and one more time compete together this year and see if they couldn't really jumpstart their summers, with a good taste in their mouth. And so they were pretty excited about the opportunity. And, just to be able to play together in May is pretty special.
Well, they certainly have jump-started their summer. I mean, the battery is fully charged. Freshman Vogler from Moline, I mean, she's well decorated. She's been in big tournaments at the high school and now the collegiate level, but all 3 rounds at the Invitational under par, -5 total. A spectacular effort. What are her strengths, tee to green?
Yeah, she's just very consistent. We would say Shannon's real strength is between the ears. You just never know how Shannon's playing. I mean, she could be 3 under, she could be 5 over, and she's going to look exactly the same and keep giving you the same great effort. Very reliable in that sense. Allison and I, my sister, we both say all the time that Shannon just doesn't disappoint. She just shows up and finishes rounds, and sometimes she may have gotten off to a rocky start this year, and she'll find a way to throw in a couple birdies or just a really good par streak, and just really always finish strong for herself and her team. And so we've really come to rely on her. She doesn't have very many off ball striking days. She hits the ball remarkably well, pretty consistent. And then she's really improved, I think, around the greens a little bit in her wedge game this year. And so it's just, she's kind of really becoming a little bit more of a complete player at this level. And we're super excited for her in her future.
Well, you have to be excited about all the freshmen. They've all contributed. Caitlin Hanna, Madison DeBagia. They tied for 21st at the National Invitational Tournament. Riley Lewis was a Big Ten Golfer of the Week in March. To say the future looks bright and sunny is an understatement. Wouldn't you agree?
Yes, no, I think we've been very pleasantly surprised, and you're always looking and kind of gauging the competitiveness of your group, and we've really tried to push them this year, and I think we've seen some great strides, and they seem to react to that, and they like that, and we're very, very excited about the future. And Paola, our sophomore, has been a great leader for them coming in, and Jordan Amelon on our team. We've just feel like had great values that they were able to instill in this young group, and help us to get them started off on the right foot. And they were really, really there for each other week in and week out. And it was neat to see someone different pretty much show up all the time, and be able to put in kind of a stellar performance. So you like to see that, because you feel like you have a lot of people that can go out there and you're just never sure who's gonna be the strongest one that week. And I think that creates a great competitive environment for them going forward too.
You bring up a good point. Every good team needs a solid program, devotees to hold things together across a long schedule and challenging courses. And you mentioned Paula Miranda, sophomore, senior, Amelon. They both average in the mid-70s. Another senior, Leah Zeitler, a Dean's List member. You have to have good mentors, correct?
We really do. And we have great mentors on and off the golf course, which is very helpful. We have some that have really been great stars in the classroom and just really understand the time management aspect. Golf's a demanding, we play 2 full seasons and not a lot of downtimes. Our trips are a little bit longer than a lot of sports. So it takes a lot of discipline to be able to be exceptional in both areas. And so we have had some great leadership, and we really appreciate that, because it takes a lot. It's a big transition. And when you're transitioning 4 people on a small team like ours, that's a lot of moving parts and a lot of emotions and a lot of feelings going on. And so we are very excited to have some steady leadership this year, and appreciate all of them very much. They've done a nice job.
Iowa women's golf coach Megan Menzel will be with us after we come back from a break here on our Fight for Iowa podcast. We're talking Hawkeye women's golf, and it's trending upward, to say the least. It's been solid for many years. Back with Coach Menzel in just a minute.
More of the Fight for Iowa podcast after this.
We all love a good win. Catching up with friends, saving money at the pump, soaking up the perfect Iowa day, sitting down to a really, really good meal. These are the everyday delights that make us smile. These are the moments that connect us all as Iowans. And these are the wins that, more often than not, start with Iowa's farm families and the crop they're growing. Because when corn grows Iowa, Iowans win. Learn more about how to share your own wins at iowacorn.org/IowansWin.
You don't have to go to the game to get a game program. You can download it now by visiting the game day page on HawkeyeSports.com. That's right, the game program is now digital and it's free. So check it out. Get the roster, the stats, and fascinating stories about today's matchup. Just go to HawkeyeSports.com and click on Game Day.
Oh, you know that old injury of yours? The one in your knee or maybe back? Instead of going to the doctor and then doing physical therapy, why not start with therapy first? Athletico Physical Therapy is changing the whole healing process around. Their physical therapists will find the source of your pain and help fix it. Start with them and start living pain-free. Just like that.
It all starts with Athletico Physical Therapy. Schedule your free assessment at athletico.com. No prescription needed. Proud partner of the Iowa Hawkeyes.
Now back to the Fight for Iowa podcast. Here's the voice of the Hawkeyes, Gary Dolphin.
We're back with Iowa women's golf coach Megan Menzel. The Hawkeyes coming off a second place finish at the National Invitational Tournament this past week. Most of the team scores this season, Coach, were in that +7 to +11 range in some big tournaments, I should point out, on challenging courses. Now, you have obviously young women with strong wills. What's the next step? You mentioned between the ears. What's the next step or two in terms of mechanical, technical improvement that will maybe chop another 5 to 10 strokes off your average team score?
Yeah, I think, now that we have the data from the year and getting to track stats on this young group, it's really good to see. But some of the areas we really focused on this year were our par 5 play. And just this last tournament, we were able to highlight that we played the par 5s very well. We didn't have anyone over par on the par 5s. And that's just a great scoring category. Good players are going to capitalize on those holes. So, it was really nice to see kind of end of the year to see that come together as we had talked about it. And obviously that comes from, you kind of have to have all parts of the game right on a par 5. You got to drive it well, you got to lay it up well, you have to wedge it well to give yourself a good chance, or if you're going for it in 2, you've got to have short game to execute and to make a birdie. So I think short game going forward, it's every golf coach in the country is always going to say we can be better around the greens and make more putts. So I think that's definitely what we've seen, though. We've embraced having better speed on the greens, trying to eliminate kind of just the silly mistakes, right? You've done the hard work of, again, putting the ball in play and getting the ball on the green. If we can eliminate 3 putts, or making sure we're converting from just right around the collar and making sure we're technically very sound. I really think that's they just have to continue to embrace that, right? Because you're always going to want to work on your swing, you're always going to want to hit it further, do those types of things, which are all very important. But we have to take care of the fundamentals and the basics and be able to just continue under pressure to execute those better and better. So I think that was the message, kind of throughout the individual meetings going forward, and then also to play a lot this summer, put yourselves in battle, go out and compete. Let's see if we can't get some people qualified for these big national events, and we want them to come back, ready to go, because with golf, you got to be ready to fire in September. There's not a lot of warm-up time, so we need them to come back and be ready to be pretty sharp for our fall season.
Well, Annika and Tiger always said the game starts from 100 yards on in.
Yes.
So you bring up some great points when you talk about mastering the par 5s. What is immediately ahead? You mentioned trying to qualify for national tournaments. What's ahead the rest of May into June?
Yeah, so they all just took off, so it's pretty quiet. I just walked into the office, and obviously a little bit of a transition. We've been out watching some of our new recruits coming in next year, so we're looking forward to that. And everyone's kind of turning the page. Our team is, like I said, they just got back and they played a lot this spring, so there's probably a little bit of a reset. Kind of an opportunity to practice. I think get there. We have some taking some summer classes, so they're getting that organized, spending a little time with family, and then hopefully by June, July. They're back at it and just in a really good daily schedule, and making sure that golf's a priority, hitting some events, but also, you got to have a little downtime to make sure you're mentally refreshed and ready to go, because it's obviously going to be a lot that we're demanding of them. So we want to make sure that they're in a good space to be able to do that when they get back to campus.
Like any sport or off season, it's good to get away for a couple of weeks and recharge the batteries. Megan Menzel, Iowa women's golf coach, our guest on this week's Fight for Iowa podcast. All the best, Coach. We'll see you on the link somewhere this summer. Okay.
I hope so. Thanks so much, Dolph. Great to see you.
And back to wrap up this week's Fight for Iowa podcast right after this brief pause.
More of the Fight for Iowa podcast after this.
Knowing that I can make a difference in my patients' lives keeps me motivated every single day. Hi, I'm Dr. Kanya Ferguson at University of Iowa Healthcare. With academic medicine, we see the toughest cases, so we're always innovating. And we bring the best minds together to collaborate, so there's more brain power focused on you. Because that leads to exceptional care for our patients and our community. See how at uihc.org.
Hey, Hawkeyes fans, the wait is over. The Iowa men's and women's basketball teams are back on the court, and Shields has everything you need to cheer on your favorite players all season long. Take your game day gear to the next level with Shields Fan Shop. We have an unmatched lineup of gear, including jerseys, hats, hoodies, and more to help you show off your team colors. So gear up, Hawkeyes fans, and celebrate all season with Shields, a proud partner of Iowa basketball and hoops fans everywhere.
Now back to the Fight for Iowa podcast. Here's the voice of the Hawkeyes, Gary Dolphin.
As of this posting, the 3-seeded Iowa baseball team has blasted its way into championship weekend at the Big Ten baseball tournament in Omaha, scoring 22 runs in victories over 6-seed Michigan and 2-seed Indiana. The Hawkeyes will face either the Wolverines or Hoosiers again as those two square off in the double elimination event. Iowa is 41-13 on the season. That 41 victory total ties for second most in a year. Iowa is not only playing for a conference title, but a higher seed in the NCAA regionals. The Hawkeyes have won 13 of their last 16 games. That's this week's Fight for Iowa podcast. Thanks for tuning in, and go Hawks.
You've been listening to the Fight for Iowa podcast. Hawkeye fans, remember to hit the subscribe button on your favorite podcast app. Once you become a Fight for Iowa podcast subscriber, you'll automatically receive the latest episodes of the Fight for Iowa podcast, the Hawkeyes Voice podcast, Hawk Talk replays, exclusive game day content, and more. Until next time, on Iowa, and go Hawks! The preceding has been a Learfield presentation on the Hawkeye Sports Network.